The Voice Season 28 winner. Aiden Ross's memorable ascent to fame, one name resounded more loudly than any other in America when the stage lights went down and the confetti finally started to fall. Aiden Ross. A journey characterized by unadulterated talent, emotional sensitivity, and a voice that seemed both timeless and urgently modern culminated in Aiden's triumph as the Voice Season 28 champion. From the first audition to the final triumphant note of the show, Aiden Ross connected rather than just competing. His voice was felt by the audience, not simply heard. And it was precisely this emotional bond that made him a national celebrity instead of just a hopeful candidate. A silent arrival that revolutionized everything. Aiden Ross didn't show up on The Voice with ostentatious self-assurance or exaggerated bluster. Rather, he entered the stage with a subdued passion that made him stand out right away. The coaches anticipated another powerful vocalist when the music started during his blind audition. The depth, the eerie earnestness that oozed from every lyric, was what caught them off guard. Chairs started turning in a matter of seconds. But the coaches were driven by storytelling as much as technical prowess. Aiden performed as though he had experienced the song firsthand, understanding love, hope, and heartbreak as human realities, rather than impersonal feelings. The audience fell silent by the last note, then burst into cheers. Even though nobody yet knew how far he would travel, a star had been sighted. Selecting the appropriate coach and route, it was difficult to decide, with several coaches vying for Aiden's allegiance. Each presented a distinct outlook on his future, whether it was voice mastery, genre growth, experimentation, or polish. In the end, Aiden went with a coach who assured him that he would improve on his current self rather than change him. That collaboration turned into one of Season 28's central themes. Every week, audiences witnessed the development of a true mentor-mentee relationship based on emotional honesty, creative risk-taking, and trust. Aiden chose to be real rather than follow trends, which allowed his artistic development to happen organically. Knockouts, fights, and breakthroughs. The stakes increased in tandem with the competition. Aiden had to contend with opponents that were crowd-pleasing, technically perfect, and vocally explosive throughout the battle rounds. Nevertheless, he consistently won, not by outshining his rivals, but by outsensing them. In one particularly noteworthy performance, Aiden performed a well-known song as if it were a confession, stripping it down to its emotional core. His restraint was commended by the judges, who pointed out that it takes uncommon confidence to know when to keep quiet. Social media was inundated with comments from fans describing the performance as chilling, pure, and award-worthy. His momentum was only increased by the knockouts. Aiden appeared to unveil a new layer every week. Folk 1 minute, soul the next, and then startling tenderness in a pop ballad. He was purposeful in addition to being adaptable. America becomes enamored. Aiden Ross was more than just a contestant by the time live voting started. He was a favorite. His humility, his obvious nervousness before shows, and the way he closed his eyes as though singing to a single person who really needed to hear it struck a chord with the audience. There was a lot of conjecture on fan forums. Was this the winner? Many people thought so. Others were concerned that bigger, more ostentatious acts would obscure his subtle manner. However, if Season 28 demonstrated anything, it was that emotional truth is still valued in America. Aiden persevered through Eliminations week after week, frequently receiving recognition for performances that resembled small-scale concerts more than competition entries. A star is sealed in the finale. The night of the finale was electrifying. As he stood on the largest platform of his life, Aiden gave a performance that perfectly captured his journey, courage, progress, and unflinching honesty. His initial single release was a turning point in his career. The song, which was written with restraint and emotion, seemed both incredibly personal and universally relevant. The audience stood up when the last note faded. Coaches dabbed at tears. Even other competitors watched in amazement. The delay seemed to go on forever when the host eventually declared the winner. Then there was Aiden Ross. The response was enormous and instantaneous. His expression went from shock to disbelief, thankfulness, and tears. It was evident at that point that winning a show wasn't the only goal. Being noticed was the goal. What sets Aiden Ross apart? Aiden Ross distinguishes out for what he doesn't do in a field that is sometimes dominated by show. He doesn't go overboard. He doesn't use tricks to hide. He doesn't act like he's bigger than life. Rather, one song at a time, he draws listeners into his world. His voice exudes a unique blend of warmth and vulnerability that lends a personal touch to every performance. He sings as if he knows that connection, not perfection, is what music is all about. The Voice's afterlife. Aiden is aware that winning The Voice is only the first step. He talked openly about maintaining his origins, keeping grounded, and creating music that matters, even if it meant going the slower route, in post-show interviews. The future is bright with a recording contract in hand and a fast-expanding fan base. Fans are anxiously awaiting tour announcements and full-length releases, while industry experts are already forecasting chart success. If Aiden's path has taught us anything, though, it is that he will not rush the process. He will follow the lead of the music. Talent, competition, and memorable performances are just a few of the elements that will make Season 28 of The Voice memorable. Above all, though, it will be remembered as the season that brought Aiden Ross to the United States. Not merely a victor, not merely a singer. However, an artist with a message and the guts to deliver it quietly. One thing is certain: when the focus moves from reality TV to live performances, Aiden Ross's voice won't be going away anytime soon. Actually, people are only now starting to pay attention to it.